And for those of you who were a part of that study about Jewish bridal customs and how it compares to and is even a picture of our wedding to Jesus Christ. It's interesting, the groom, after he's betrothed with the cup and the bread, that's how she says, yes, I will marry you. She partakes of the cup, which is a picture of communion. She accepts the proposal. You know where he goes between the time of the betrothal and the actual wedding? He goes to his father's house to build on a room addition, bridal chamber for his bride. Oh, when's the wedding? I don't know. Only the Father knows the day and the hour. What? Not even the groom? No, not even the son. The Father says, it's time. The best man sounds the shofar. You know what the groom does? He doesn't go get his bride and reserve a church and get a pastor to preside over the wedding. He goes in the middle of the night as a thief in the night, and he snatches his bride away and takes her to his father's house where he had prepared a place for her, and he consummates and celebrates his marriage to her for 7 days. Not 8, not 6, 7. It's been said that while we're in heaven celebrating, the Christ-rejecting world is on earth tribulating for that 7 years. You know what happens after the 7 days / 7 years of tribulation and our celebration? We have a big wedding, a big wedding feast. It's called the wedding supper of the Lamb. And as was the custom, the Jewish bridegroom would bring his bride and present her to the wedding party after the 7 days, like we will be presented as his bride after the 7-year tribulation. See, this is my problem with anything but a pre-tribulation rapture. See, the wedding supper of the Lamb, if it's anywhere but before, has to become a sack lunch because there's no time. I'll get back to you on that. Think about that for a moment. But no, you can't not. Listen, if we're going to have a wedding feast, the wedding supper of the Lamb, and according to the customs, it's after the 7 days where we're presented as his bride to the wedding party, and then to the multitudes, 10,000s by his side. Again, like we talked about in our study of the 7 feasts of Israel and their prophetic significance a couple, 3 weeks ago, how it's going to be when in the rapture, Jesus comes for us, and at the second coming, Jesus comes with us as his bride by his side. You know, it's interesting. One last thing, and we'll close. This will be my final closing, too, for those of you who might be wondering. It's interesting that Jesus is called the second Adam. He fulfills what, the first Adam did by entering, sin into the world. Jesus, the second Adam, paid in full for that sin that the first Adam had entered into the world. Now, what do we know to be true about Adam? God put him in a deep sleep and took his rib from his side and made for him a bride. Now we have the second Adam. Many generations later, hanging on that cross at Golgotha, also known as Mount Calvary. And to make sure that he was dead, a Roman soldier stabbed him in the side. And we're told in the Gospels that there were 2 elements that came out from his side. They were blood and water. Interesting. The 2 elements present at birth. That was the birth of the church. That was the birth of his bride, who, like the first Adam, was taken from his side as the second Adam. He's our bridegroom. And he's coming for us. And he's coming soon. My prayer for us is that God would ruin us for himself as he readies us for the rapture. I pray, and I pray this for myself today, because the one thing I never want to do as a pastor is get into a rut. Another Sunday, another sermon, another 3 points, eat some food, go home. Shoot me now. Where's the joy? Where's the joy? Where's the fruit of the Holy Spirit? Where's the love and the joy and the peace and the gentleness and the goodness and the kindness and the meekness and the... I always forget patience. I'm impatient, that's why. But patience and self-control. What about Nehemiah, who says to the Israelites congregated there after hearing the scriptures read, were falling on their face, weeping aloud. And he said, no, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Would to God that this would so light a fire in our Christian experience so as to never allow us to be the same ever again. Now, I don't mean we go out and be obnoxious for Christ. That turns people off and people shut down. But I'm talking about there being such a glow. When people walk around and you're like, whoa, you glow. You know? It's that Moses glow after he was in the presence of the Lord. And he comes down from the mount. And I mean, he glowed. Why? Because he was in the presence of the Lord. You know what? Psalm 16:11, I think it's Psalm 16:11, it says that in your presence, the psalmist said to the Lord, in your presence is found fullness of joy. You know, the world's falling apart. People want to know where the answers are to life's calamities and tragedies, and you have the answer. Would to God that we would give to every man an answer of that hope that lies within us. You know, joy's contagious, is it not? I mean, when you're around somebody and you're down in the dumps and you're discouraged and you're depressed and you're distressed, and you see somebody who has every reason to be discouraged and depressed and distressed, and they're not. You're going, wow, what are you on? I'm on Jesus. Well, no, come on. Do you have a prescription or something? Are you, No, it's just the Holy Spirit. It's just the Holy Spirit. And it's the fruit of the Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit in me living out the Christian life instead of me. And that's where the joy comes from. That's where the peace that surpasses human understanding comes from. I think that we stand at the crossroads of an enormous opportunity that has ramifications for all eternity. And what I mean by that is that like never before, when the world is crashing in around us, when the stock market is crashing in on top of us, people need to see you and see me. And they need to say, wait a minute. Their Christianity is the real deal. They're not freaking out. They lost as much as I did in that crash. They're not freaking out. Why? Because their treasure's in heaven. I want what they've got. See, again, I think the non-believer, and I think Bible prophecy is the key.